I really love hybrids. Yes, you heard it right. I really love hybrids. But not hybrids from nowadays, but hybrids from yesteryears. Yes, I'm a petrol head, and today I'm going to drive one of the coolest hybrids of all times, the Cobra V8. So, let's put on my gloves and drive. The problem I normally have with Cobras is that it mostly do not fit, because I'm quite tall. But in this one I can fit, so I really will enjoy this episode of Driving with Gloves with the Cobra V8. So let's fire up this baby. Listen to that infernal sound. Will this Cobra bite me? I had an experience around 50 years ago in Egypt where a real cobra snake, a king's cobra, tried to attack me, but I stayed cool. So, will I stay cool by handling this Cobra? Let's find out. Hi, my name is Cor and welcome to my channel Driving with Gloves. I always drive with driving gloves. Your question might be, why does he drive with gloves? And my answer is, why not? Languages changes over time. Latin changed into Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese or Romanian. When Diana Ross sang, "Why do birds sing so gay?" Well, that sounded more like the Bee Gees, and Diana Ross did not mean to say that all the birds were homosexual, but gay meant light-hearted. Nowadays, hybrids are cars with an internal combustion engine combined with an electric motor, but in the past hybrids were the coolest cars on the planet. Look at the stunning Bizzarini 5003 GT or this Jensen Interceptor. The same goes for the Isorivolta Fidia or the Monteverdi High Speed, and now we are getting closer. The De Tomaso Mangusta and finally the AC Cobra. Is the all-American Shelby Cobra a hybrid? Yes, it is. Hybrids of the past were beautiful European cars with a big American V8. The history of the Cobra starts in England. The Weller brothers founded in 1901 their auto carriers company, in short AC. In afterward Britain, AC started to produce the Ace in 1953. The car was designed by the Portuguese John Tojeira, nicknamed Toy. The first cars had a 2-liter straight 6-cylinder engine with an output of 100 bhp. In 1956 there was the optional Bristol Cars engine with 120 bhp. In 1961 Bristol decided to cease production of this engine. The engine was after all a pre-war design by BMW, which by the 1960s was considered dated. In September 1961, American retired race car driver and automotive designer Carroll Shelby wrote to AC in England asking if they would build him a modified Ace to accept a V8 engine. AC was more than happy to do this. Shelby went to Chevrolet to see if they would provide him with engines, but not wanting to add competition to the Corvette, Chevrolet declined. However, Ford wanted a car that could compete with the Corvette, and they happened to have a brand new engine which could be used in this endeavour: the Windsor 221 engine, a new lightweight thin-wall cast small block V8. Ford provided Shelby with 2 engines. The most important modification for the ACAs was the fitting of a stronger rear differential to handle the increased engine power. A Salisbury 4HU unit with inboard disc brakes to reduce unsprung weight was chosen. It was the same unit used on the Jaguar E-Type. After testing and modification, the engine and transmission were removed by AC in England, and the chassis was air freighted to Shelby in Los Angeles on the 2nd of February 1962. By this time, the small blocks of displacement was increased to 289 cubic inch. A few changes were made by Shelby. The inboard brakes were moved outboard to reduce cost. The fuel tank filler was relocated from the fender to the center of the boot. The boot lid had to be shortened to accommodate this change. AC exported completed painted and trimmed cars, less engine and gearbox, to Shelby, who then finished the cars in his workshop in Los Angeles by installing the engine and gearbox and correcting any bodywork flaws caused by the car's passage by sea. The first 75 Cobra Mark I models, including the prototype, were fitted with the 260 cubic inch engine. The remaining 51 Mark I models were fitted with a larger version of the Windsor Ford engine, the 289 cubic inch V8. Shelby experimented with a larger Ford FE engine of 390 cubic inch in chassis number CSX 2196. The car was not able to receive the development it needed, as resources were aimed at taking the crown from Ferrari in the GT class. A new chassis was required, developed and designated Mark III. The new car was designed in cooperation with Ford in Detroit. A new chassis was built and coil spring suspension was fitted all around. The new car also had wide fenders and a larger radiator opening. It was powered by the side oiler Ford 427 FE engine, rated at 431 PS at 6000 RPM and 651 Nm of torque at 3700 RPM, which provided a top speed of 264 km/h in the standard model. The more powerful tune of 492 PS with a top speed of 298 km/h in the semi-competition model. Cobra Mark III production began on the 1st of January 1965. 2 prototypes had been sent to the United States of America in October 1964. Cars were sent to the US as unpainted rolling chassis, and they were finished in Shelby's workshop. Some Cobra 427s were fitted with Ford's 428 cubic inch engine, a long-stroke, smaller bore, lower cost engine, intended for road use rather than racing. The AC Cobra was a financial failure that led Ford and Carroll Shelby to discontinue importing cars from England in 1967. AC Cars kept producing the coil spring AC Roadster with narrow fenders and a small block Ford 289. It was built and sold in Europe until late 1969, and that was the official end of the original Cobra. I wanted to drive a Cobra for many years, but until now every attempt went wrong. Why? because I'm simply too tall and my legs are too long. But it is different in this one. I can finally fit in a Cobra, so I really do not mind that this is no original 427 Shelby Cobra. This replica from 1972 may not be a real Shelby 427, but even in this form the car has still loads of power. I adore light cars with no driver's aids, since you have to do it all by yourself. A car like this shows immediately your driving skills. Either you can handle the snake or you are dead. You have to fight a Cobra like a mongoose. The Indian grey mongoose has a good chance of interacting with a Cobra in its natural environment. Given the choice, the mongoose would go after easier prey, but he is an opportunistic hunter, and if hungry, it will see the Cobra as a meal. Alejandro de Tomaso was also an opportunistic hunter and saw the Shelby Cobra as a meal. He therefore developed his own mongoose, the Mangusta. Mangusta is Italian for mongoose. Carroll Shelby was looking to create a new Can-Am race car. He searched for a suitable rolling chassis since developing a new one from scratch was too expensive. He met De Tomaso and was introduced to the De Tomaso Vallelunga. The car's lightweight backbone steel chassis showed a lot of promise, so Shelby contracted the Italian company to build his race car. He provided an important part of the financing and assembled a design team headed by Pete Brock, who traveled to Modena and began work on the project dubbed P70. De Tomaso had several disagreements with Shelby and his team that ended up delaying the development process. When it became clear that the 5 cars required wouldn't be ready in time for the 1965 Can-Am season, Shelby ended the partnership and focused on the Ford's GT40 project. Determined to show Carroll Shelby that he was able to build a terrific supercar on his own, De Tomaso instructed his engineers further to improve the P70 chassis and powertrain for road legal use. Next, he commissioned Gia's Giorgetto Giugiaro to design the bodywork and topped it all off by naming the vehicle Mangusta. Although an open race car, the Cobra is somewhat practical. Look at the boot space. The Cobra is light and has endless power and torque and is certainly dangerous to drive. Nonetheless, although being in danger to die while driving this car on narrow mountain roads, you feel extremely alive. Now my secret is public. I'm a thrill seeker. Life will kill you, so choose something fun that will kill you. This something could be this Cobra, because it is for sale at Autovogel in Switzerland. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Driving with Gloves with this legendary car, the Cobra. Finally a Cobra in which I could fit. This Cobra, which can be driven by tall people, is from 1972 and can be bought at Autovogel in Switzerland. See you soon in a new episode of Driving with Gloves. Thank you.